It's precisely 1:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Danushka Madhavela, read by Sabrina Zawahir. The headlines. Sri Lanka takes historic step towards establishing an independent commission for truth, unity and reconciliation. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that Sri Lanka has taken significant steps towards transparency and good governance. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that despite the drought and floods, paddy farmers have received a bountiful harvest. ADB approves $200 million to sustain economic stabilization efforts in Sri Lanka. And in world news, US uses veto but pressure for Gaza ceasefire is building. And in sports news, Al Nassr forward Cristiano Ronaldo marks 1,200th career game with goal and assist. Now the local news in detail. In a historic step towards transitional justice and post-conflict reconciliation, the government of Sri Lanka has decided to establish an independent commission for truth, unity and reconciliation. This proposed commission will be established through an Act of Parliament currently in the drafting process as a concept paper in consultation with relevant stakeholders. The concept paper used to prepare the final draft of the bill for Parliament will soon be available for comments to ensure an inclusive process in developing legislation that strengthens and safeguards national unity through truth, transitional justice, reconciliation, preparation and social cohesion. A key objective of this process is to establish the truth regarding post-conflict grievances of Sri Lankan citizens, facilitating reconciliation, reparation and sustainable peace. The proposed commission acknowledges every Sri Lankan's inalienable right to ascertain the truth, a pivotal aspect for individuals and communities to heal from past conflicts. Additionally, the Commission aims to ensure and strengthen national unity, peace, the rule of law, coexistence, equality, tolerance, respect for diversity and reconciliation among the people of Sri Lanka. This commitment extends to preventing any recurrence of disharmony and future conflict between the multi-ethnic and diverse communities. The Commission is expected to review, consider and facilitate the implementation of recommendations made by past commissions related to Sri Lanka's post-conflict reconciliation efforts, including the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission. Findings from the Consultation Task Force on Reconciliation Mechanisms established in 2006 by the Government of Sri Lanka will also be considered. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that Sri Lanka has taken significant steps towards transparency and good governance. Setting up of sectorial oversight committees and budget office in Parliament are major steps in this regard. The President made these remarks while addressing the session held recently to the International Leadership Conference for the Parliamentarians of the Asia-Pacific region under the theme of Accountability in Action, Fostering Transparency and Good Governance among Parliamentarians. The President also pointed out that these new positive measures implemented in the Parliament of Sri Lanka will enable policy-making to be more populist and financial control and other activities to be carried out in a more transparent and accountable manner. Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene said that it was a great achievement for Sri Lanka to be able to pass the anti-corruption bill in the past to prevent corruption in the country. He also pointed out that this could be introduced as one of the strongest anti-corruption laws among regional countries. The event was held under the leadership of Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene on the invitation of International Summit Council for Peace, Asia-Pacific Region Chairman, former President Maithripala Sirisena. This is jointly organized by Sri Lanka Parliament and the Universal Peace Federation with its affiliated organizations, International Summit Council for Peace and International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace. Today is the 16th day of the Budget Committee stage debate. Votes on the Ministries of Agriculture and Plantation Industries are now being taken up for debate today. Joining the debate, MP Ranjit Madduma Bandara accuses that farmers are not having sufficient prices for their paddy harvest. He also said that only the paddy farmers having the fertilizer subsidy. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that despite the drought and floods, paddy farmers have received a bountiful harvest. More than 200,000 metric tons of excessive harvest has been received at present. The minister said that all paddy lands are being cultivated at present, Maha season, and fertilizer will also be distributed accordingly. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Enjoy interest-free installments on your shopping. Get a People's Credit Card from your nearest People's Bank today. Conditions apply.
Continuing local news, the Asian Development Bank has approved a $200 million concessional loan for Sri Lanka to help stabilize the country's finance sector following the sovereign debt and economic crisis that started in April 2022 after it suspended its external debt payments. The Financial Sector Stability and Reforms Program comprises two sub-programs of USD $200 million each. In a statement, the ADB said Sub-Program 1 targets short-term stabilization and crisis management measures that were implemented in 2023, while Sub-Program 2 is planned to be implemented in 2024 and focuses on structural reforms and long-term actions to restore growth in the banking sector. The program will help strengthen the stability and the governance of the country's banking sector, improving the banking sector's asset quality and deepen sustainable and inclusive finance, particularly for the women-led micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. According to the International Monetary Fund's latest review, Sri Lanka's economy is showing tentative signs of stabilization, although a full economic recovery is not yet assured, the statement reads. The program is also in line with the government's reform agenda, including strengthening the operational independence of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and its designation as the country's macroprudential authority. With that, we conclude the local news.
Light up your life, light up your smile. Enjoy special offers all over the place with People's Credit Cards this December with discounts of up to 75% at selected merchants. Enjoy interest-free installments on your shopping. Get a People's Credit Card from your nearest People's Bank today. Conditions apply.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
Sri Lanka Navy marks its 73rd anniversary today. A total of 1,877 naval personnel comprising both senior and junior sailors have been promoted to their next rank effective from today in commemoration of the 73rd anniversary. The promotions were endorsed by Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira, the commander of the Navy. Accordingly, 489, 264, 625 and 499 senior and junior sailors have been elevated to the ranks of ordinary seaman, able seaman, leading seaman and chief petty officer, respectively. That was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
This is Watchlight.
The water supply for parts of Colombo will be suspended today for a period of 16 hours, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says. Water cut will be in place from 5 p.m. this evening until 9 a.m. tomorrow. According to the NWSDB, Colombo 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 areas are supposed to be affected by the water cut, which is being imposed due to essential maintenance work planned under the Ambatale Water Supply System Improvements and Energy Saving Project. That came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Taking a look at the headlines of the world news, U.S. uses veto but pressure for Gaza ceasefire is building. Guatemala challenge to Bernardo Arévalo. Election seen as coup attempt. Ryan O'Neal, Oscar-nominated star of Love Story, dead at 82. Now the world news in detail. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has spoken about the serious risk to the maintenance of international peace and security in the Gaza conflict, citing the spillover of hostilities in the occupied West Bank, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq and Yemen. He triggered Article 99, prompting a UN Security Council vote on Friday because he believes this is a very urgent matter which must be brought to the attention of the Council. The Israeli government detests the UN and they detest the Secretary General. The Israelis rejected his description, claiming Mr. Guterres is in the fact a threat to the world peace because he is pandering to Hamas by trying to end the fighting now before their mission to destroy the group has seen concluded. That ill feeling will not have improved after the Secretary General also mentioned that one of the risks is that the situation in Gaza could get so bad that there would be a mass displacement of Palestinians over the border into Egypt, which is also of a huge concern to the Egyptian government. A legal challenge against Guatemala's election of an anti-corruption leader has been called an attempted coup by international organizations. Bernardo Arévalo is due to take office as president in January, but on Friday the country's prosecutor's office declared the result void. The European Union and the Organization of American States condemned the move and called for a transition of power. Mr. Arévalo also described the prosecutor's action as a coup attempt. His victory in August was widely seen as a repudiation of Guatemala's political elite, which has been dogged by corruption allegations over many years. The 65-year-old who leads the party of Movimiento Semilla won more than 60% of the vote, picking up mass support with his pledge to clean up governance in the Central American country. American actor Ryan O'Neal, best known for his Oscar-nominated role in 1970 romance Love Story, has died at the age of 82, his son said. His family did not share a cause of death, but O'Neal was diagnosed with leukemia in 2001 and prostate cancer in 2012. He also starred in 1970s hits What's Up Doc, Paper Moon and A Bridge Too Far. His son said his father was a Hollywood legend, full stop. My dad passed away peacefully today with his loving team by his side supporting him, Patrick O'Neal wrote on Instagram on Friday. He added that his father had always been his hero. With that, we conclude the world news. Prior to concluding the headlines of the world news once again. U.S. uses veto, but pressure for Gaza ceasefire is building. Guatemala challenge to Bernardo Arévalo election seen as coup attempt. Ryan O'Neal, Oscar-nominated star of Love Story, dead at 82. That concludes World News.
Development News.
State Minister for Investment Promotion Dilum Amunagama said plans are underway to convert the Bogambara prison in Kandy into an international five-star hotel. State Minister Amunagama announced that a local investor had been found for this project, stating that a hotel would be operated at the historic Bogambara prison while maintaining its historic value. The Urban Development Authority has also received approval from the Department of Archaeology to restructure the Bogambara prison complex. Built by British rulers, the three-storied Bogambara prison in Kandy is the second largest prison in Sri Lanka and is the longest building in Asia built on a single foundation. After operating for 138 years, the prison was closed in 2014. That was Development News.
Moving on with sports news.
Cristiano Ronaldo marked the 1,200th professional match of his career by scoring one goal and assisting another for Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr. 38-year-old tapped in Sadio Mane's cross and later set up teammate Otavio in a 4-1 win over Al Riyadh. Ronaldo thanked all those who have helped him reach the landmark but added that he was not done yet. The Portugal forward is the Saudi Pro League's top scorer with 16 goals in 15 games this season. Former England goalkeeper Peter Shilton is acknowledged as holding the record for the most competitive professional appearances in the men's game with 1,387. That was Sports News.
Go ekatiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Job growth in the U.S. was stronger than expected last month, in part boosted as striking workers in Hollywood and the car industry returned to work. Employers added 199,000 jobs in November, the Labor Department said. That helped to push down the jobless rate to 3.7%, the lowest level since July. The monthly report is being closely watched as the U.S. Central Bank tries to cool the economy to reduce inflation, the rate at which prices rise. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekatiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news. Ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Russian Federation, Professor Janita Elianagay, met with Governor of Nizhny Novgorod, Gleb Nikitin, within the framework of the international forum So Knowledge. In Nizhny Novgorod, during the working meeting held on December 5, 2023, Ambassador Professor Janita Elianagay and Governor Gleb Nikitin discussed the promising opportunities for mutually beneficial cooperation in tourism, trade, economic and education sectors. Ambassador Professor Janita Elianagay emphasized that Sri Lanka is interested in continuing cooperation with the Nizhny Novgorod region. The Sri Lankan envoy mission underlined that during her first visit, she focused on promoting tourism, trade and economic activities, but she also managed to visit educational institutions. That was Economic News.
Weather Report.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places over most provinces of the island after 1 p.m. Heavy showers about 100 millimeters are likely at some places in central, Sabragamua, western and Uva provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. A few showers may occur in northern, southern, western and eastern provinces. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. Sri Lanka takes historic step towards establishing an independent commission for truth, unity and reconciliation. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that Sri Lanka has taken significant steps towards transparency and good governance. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that despite the drought and floods, paddy farmers have received a bountiful harvest. ADB approves $200 million to sustain economic stabilization efforts in Sri Lanka. With that, we conclude the news and over to my friend and certainly yours who's all geared up to keep you entertained with a wonderful collection of music indeed. Over to you, Asanka.